Kelly Vess, and I'm so excited to be here today. Today, we're going to talk about a really important topic, which is how to assess preschoolers virtually through a screen and reliably. So I want to give you a little background. It's kind of interesting. Typically, we have what's called a research to practice leg. So approximately 10 years ahead of practice, we have research. So here's our research. 10 years later, we're going to put it into practice. Well, because of COVID, the world's been kind of turned upside down. And now what we have is we have practice and then research. So this is a good example of that. We're doing a lot of things right now that are in good faith and based on the knowledge that we do have. And we're creating practice that is not evidence-based because we don't have the research for it. An example of that is giving standardized tests through a screen. So I'm giving speech and language testing virtually to preschoolers. And each week I do one test with a child with severe level of impairment and one test with a child with a mild to moderate level of impairment, a preschooler. And I've been very effective. So I want to share with you the technique I use to engage the child into the testing scenario and to have attention and to develop a working relationship that's necessary so that we can see what is this child capable of through a screen. Because we don't have the research that says if you give a speech and language test live, particularly a language test, if we give a language test live to a preschooler, we're going to get the same results if we give it through a screen. We don't know that. We don't have the research for that. We're doing the best we can. It's kind of neat. We're kind of like in a Star Trek movie, and we're going where no man or woman has gone before. And this is part of it. We're giving standardized language tests through a screen. So the problem with that is if the child is not engaged, if the child is not attending, we could have a false positive and we could say, well, this child has a language impairment. When actually the child is just simply not engaged, a preschooler isn't, with you through a screen. So the technique that I'm going to share with you today, it's worked for me, knock on wood, all semester with children with severe levels of impairment and children with mild to moderate levels of impairments. When I say children, I mean preschoolers between the ages of 3 to 5 years of age. I want to share this technique with you because I think it's very important that we're able to see what is this child capable of through the screen. Because if our treatment is only as good as our evaluation. And at the end of this, it's very important to ask the parent, is this typical of your child? The performance that you saw today, is this how your child would typically communicate? Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to share with you my screen to show you, and the children I'm talking about are children I've never met before. I'm meeting them for the first time. So I need to quickly establish rapport. I need to get through a speech language sample, a speech testing, and a language testing. That's your typical evaluation. So there's a lot that we have to get through. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share with you the slideshow that I use. So before we move on into showing you the slideshow, first you have what's called a read, or we call it a read. I don't know what it is in your state. And what that is it's the parent giving permission to test your child. At that meeting, what we ask is, I ask the parents, what is your child's favorite characters, movie characters, television characters, books, TV characters, toys, activities, songs? Okay, I need that information so that I can quickly develop rapport with the child. So I need to ask those questions and find out, what does this child love? So I'm going to use what the child loves to draw the child in, to get the child actively responding to my questions and directions. And then after that, I can fade in the test. Okay. It really, really works. It's worked for me 100% of the time. I hope it works for you as well. Let me show you what I do. So I'm going to take this Google slide. I'll put it up underneath this post a bit later today so you can use it as well. Let's just take a look at my Google slide and see what's in it? How can I use this with every preschooler that walks in the door that I've never met before? These children, the first time I'm seeing them is through a screen. And now I have about, I have two standardized tests to give them, and I have one language sample to get through. So, and I have a child that's 3 years of age with a communication impairment or suspected communication impairment. Let's keep this in mind. And many children with communication impairments also have concurrent attentional deficits. So let's just keep this in mind. So I need to be ready for this. And I typically only have one shot. I also wanted to let you know that what I also have is I have a social worker observing and a psychologist observing with the children who are severe so that they can get their testing done through observation. So there's a lot riding on making sure this evaluation is successful. I only have one shot at this. So what do I do? Let me show you. I'm going to share with you this slide in our Facebook group. Okay. So a little bit later today, I'll make sure to do that. Let's go into present mode and think about any preschooler that walks through your door. What would they love? Okay, so what information I have is I know their favorite characters, I know their favorite books, I know their favorite songs, I know their favorite places. I gave them a little interest inventory questionnaire, so I know what they love. I can use that, but let's just look at the slideshow first, okay? So we have here alphabet letters. You do know preschoolers that love their ABCs? I do. So we have our alphabet letters, and what we're going to do behind the alphabet letters is we're going to hide their favorite characters. So suppose that they love Paw Patrol. I could put the top 5 Paw Patrol or 6 Paw Patrol characters on top, and with the letter A, I could have an apple in one of the Paw Patrol characters' hands. With the letter B, I could have a ball. So it's very, very easy. I have Paw Patrol. They don't have to start, the characters don't have to start with the letters A through Z. They're just carrying something or riding a zebra or something of that nature. So the child, I'll get to them. I'm going to show you first the rewarding slides. So I'm going to go and hide what they love under the slides. The same thing here, the 5 friends. I'll hide 5 friends here. Maybe it's 5 of Thomas's friends if the child likes Thomas the Train. I'll put under, and the next slide, use jewels. Oh, okay, maybe it's superheroes the child loves. So I'll throw superheroes under here. And as you can see, this is colors. A lot of our children love colors. A lot of our children, is the previous slide that you've seen, love numbers. This one, we have shapes. A lot of our children love shapes. So underneath the shapes, I have something the child loves. I could have the child's favorite books under the shapes, could have their favorite TV shows. Here we have are their favorite toys. Here we have who likes to eat vegetables. And once again, I could have different characters that they love, Disney characters under who likes to eat vegetables. So here I do use the copyrighted material because I'm only using it with the child. We have a lot, I do have fun with my Creative Commons copyrighted material. So sometimes I put that under just to give the parent a laugh, and I'll be like, guess who that is? And they're just like, Anna, and like, she's from Frozen. That's Elsa. And this is, because the characters will look nothing like the actual character. And it's a fun game to play with the parents, just to give the parents a laugh. So once again, we hide what the child loves underneath these different templates. Okay, so you see I have a lot of variety here because some children love animals and some children love shapes, letters, numbers, and some children love colors. So I'll probably do a dinosaur one next. Who's hiding behind the dinosaur? Can always add to this. So what I do is, as I told you, I take the characters and I hide them behind. Let me just show you really quickly how I do this. I know many of you know this, but just for review, escape. I'm going to show you because it is pretty funny. I'm going to show you the Creative Commons characters. Sometimes, it's funny. It's fun to make jokes, and this would be a fun game to play with your friends. Like, who is this? And then you use the Creative Commons version. So I don't want to go to my Google Drive. So let's insert an image from the web. And here it's really nice. Google always gives you the Creative Commons, which is safe to use for educational purposes. Let's use Elsa from Frozen. We'll put her. Okay, there's Elsa from Frozen. And here's a good picture right here. Oh, Elsa. So I'm going to put Elsa under the letter E. I'll just slide this to the side and I'll make this small. And if I want this to be like an egg shape, I'm just going to take it and use that crop button on the top where I can make it any shape that I want. So here's the little crop button on the top, and I'm going to make it into an oval. There it is. Press return. And then I'll put the E back over it. Okay. So we can have our game. We don't want Elsa on top here. So, you know, it's pretty funny because this is the parents. I mean, they're like, I'm like, guess who that is? And they don't know. They're like, Cinderella. No, well, that's Elsa. Okay. So we kind of make a nice joke out of that. But I'm going to send that to the back. So that's an example. So what do I do? So now you see how I set it up. I know what the child loves before the evaluation, because there's a lot writing on this evaluation. I have a tight schedule. I only have one shot at this. I want to find out truly what is this child capable of. So I need to establish a positive working relationship with the child before the test comes out. And during this time is when I take my language sample. And so I can ask that. So I will have the child, I can say, okay, let's see what's behind the letter. And the child say, A. And then I look and I press on it and what's behind the letter A. And then we see what's behind the letter. Who's that? And then the child will say the animal's name, you know, that's Marshall. Oh my goodness. So the child's like, well, she's a lot of fun. Answering questions is a lot of fun. This game is a lot of fun. So I get the child all in. So the child is all in and participating and glued to the screen. And then I'll take out my testing material, hold it up to the screen, whatever the question is. And suppose it's the expressive one-word picture vocabulary test. Oh my goodness, a picture game. What's that? Oh, what's that? And I'll go through, 10 pictures with the child. Let's crack some more eggs open. And I'll crack some more eggs open. Flip up the book. Well, we get to see the picture game. Let's see the picture game. So when I'm doing this egg game, I'm asking the child questions. Who's that? And the child saying, Mickey Mouse. And I'm saying, I love how you answer every question. Oh my goodness, you're tickling my ears. So I'm letting the child know that I love that he answers every single question. Answering every question feels really good. And I'm fading in the test. So typically I'm able to, so then maybe let's go to the next activity. Oh, Cookie Monster. Who? He has 5 friends hiding. Let's see who they are. And so whatever the child loves, I'll go to that slide, obviously. And this provides some nice variety for the child. Oh, who's hiding behind who ate those cookies? So you get it. So I can get rid of the slides completely if I have the child, and then I can just go into testing. The child's all in and complete the testing. If not, I can go back and forth in between the fun what the child loves game and the testing. So I hope that this is of use to you. I also use this when I'm first meeting a child for our very first session. So I want to establish a positive working relationship in which the child knows that following directions with this person and answering questions with this person is really, really fun. And this person is really, really fun. And then I can always fade in more educationally rich activities, more naturalistic activities over time. But this is a good way to get a nice 100% compliance rate. And I think it's almost like a hamster wheel. You have the momentum, you have the positive momentum, and after that you can fade in more challenging tasks, more educationally rich tasks, and less cause-effect tasks such as this. But this is a good starting point. So I hope this is useful for you in adding this into your therapy toolbox. Have a wonderful day.